Well, in the last devotional, I was talking about the fact that we have all been made in the image of God. Whether we're rich or poor, whether we are black or white or Asian or Hispanic or some other background, whether we're educated or uneducated, whether we're Republican or Democrat, whether we're saved or unsaved, we're all made in the image of God. And not only that, God loves all of us. He does. God loves unsaved people just like He loves those of us who have been saved. God loves everybody. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. And so not only do we need to keep in mind that everybody has been made in the image of God. See, if you can keep that in mind in your interactions with others, your dealings with others, whether it's people you live with, work with, see on television, read about in the newspaper, whether you agree with them or not, whether what they're saying is true or false, right or wrong, whether the way they're living is right or whether it's wrong. Maybe it's reprehensible. There's no excuse for what they're doing or how they're living, and they're not even feeling badly about it. They're promoting it. I think one of the things that concerns me in the day in which we live is that it's almost like we can justify hating somebody if they're doing something or saying something that we know to be wrong. Well, friend, let me just say this. Under no condition can you justify hating somebody. There's no way that's acceptable in the eyes of God. We, as the children of God, have been called to love everybody, whether we agree with them, whether they're like us, whether they're different from us. And that doesn't mean that we have to conform to their ways, or it doesn't mean that we have to agree with their beliefs. But it does mean that we have to love them, just like God loves us. Do you think that God loves somebody who's different from you, or who doesn't agree with you, or who looks at things differently from you? Do you think God loves that person any less than He loves you? No. And so the challenge for us is, first of all, to view everybody as somebody who has been made in God's image, and that person has value and worth, and that person is special. And not only that, from our hearts and in our hearts, to love them with the unconditional love of God. I want to say again, for the second or maybe the third time, that doesn't mean that we agree with everything they say. They may be out in left field as far as they can possibly be. But just because they're in left field or right field or center field or out of the ballpark, that doesn't mean that we are not supposed to love them. And so here's the question I'm asking you. It's a good question. Do you have in your heart an unconditional love for everybody in the world? I was going to say for everybody you know, but it's not just for everybody you know. It's for everybody in the world. Do you have an unconditional love? And I want to build on that in our next devotional. But today it's good to stop it here and just ask that question. Do you have an unconditional love for everybody in the world? And we'll pick up here next time.